Hey everyone, Tactics here, kicking off my tanking series where I pug my way to Keystone Master as the lowest represented tank spec, Protection Warrior. This is going to be a bit more of a shorter introduction video, kind of like an episode 0, where I focus on what kind of restrictions I placed on myself for this challenge, as well as what I did to gear up when I initially hit max level. There isn't going to be too much dungeon gameplay in this video, but we'll jump right into that stuff in the next one. This series is also going to be entirely streamed on my Twitch channel, so if you want to check it out live, you can follow me at Tactics. Now, let's start off with some restrictions. Of course, this series is about pugging, so I'm not allowed to group with any guildies or friends whatsoever. Every dungeon group I enter will be completely full of pugs. That's pretty self-explanatory. Second, I'm only going to be gearing from solo content like world quests or the mission table, and from pug dungeon content I previously mentioned. I'm not going to be doing any raids, regardless of difficulty, and I'll also be avoiding PvP entirely. Now this does mean I'll be missing some important legendary effects and conduit upgrades, but I wanted to make sure all the gear I get is acquirable by any solo player who strictly does pug dungeon content and nothing else. I've also made sure to disconnect my warrior from my main druid's raider IO so that I don't get invites that I wouldn't get based on this character's progress and eye level alone. I also will not be using the Valor upgrade system unless this specific character has personally unlocked an upgrade tier. Basically, I just want this character to be a complete standalone to get the most realistic experience. Another thing that I tried to do without being too strict about is pugging into other people's keys as opposed to just always using my own. There are still going to be times where I will use my own key, like if it's something I need for KSM or drops some important gear, but I feel like only ever using my own key is a bit of a cop-out and doesn't let me get the true pugging experience, so I wanted to avoid that as much as possible. From there, let's talk a bit about Prot Warrior itself, starting with my Covenant choice. To push KSM, I've opted to go Night Fae over the more popular Kyrian for a few reasons. The most important one is to solve a problem that is definitely common in pug groups, which is missed interrupts. Ancient Aftershock has the benefit of doing a short CC every couple of seconds, which acts as a pseudo interrupt when used against casters, which can help shore up kicks when a group you're in is kind of lacking them. While this does mean you're giving up File as an extra panic button and debuff removal, I think the trade-off is well worth it. You also get the benefit of some extremely powerful soulbinds in both Naya and Corrin, which outweigh any of the Kyrian options. In terms of legendary choice, I started the series a little bit before 9.0.5, but by the time I had enough Soul Ash, the patch had hit, so I opted for the reworked Reprisal legendary, which in my opinion is by far the best overall option for pushing keys, as it provides Warrior with some snap threat, as well as a significantly higher shield block uptime, making this a great choice for both offense and defense. Then let's look at what exactly I did after hitting 60 to get to the point where pug groups would actually accept me into them. I found that the best way to get yourself up to around 190 to 195 eye level is to actually get your renown up to unlock Covenant gear sets and then upgrade that using Anima. This nets you up to 9 pieces of 197 eye level gear to go along with any other upgrades you get along the way and give you a good starting place to begin running dungeons. In terms of how to get your renown up quickly, making sure to complete any callings that reward renown is important, as is completing any steps of the Covenant campaign you have yet to complete. You should also be able to quickly get your eye level to a point where you can queue for heroic dungeons, which is another thing you can just grind out to increase your renown. Once you actually have the renown to unlock all the set pieces, to actually upgrade them you'll need a lot of Anima. Outside of just doing Anima world quests whenever they're up, the weekly dungeon quests or other events, there's also a couple of one-time dungeon quests that grant 750 Anima each, one for Sanguine Depths right inside the dungeon, and another for Theater of Pain after completing a short quest chain at the camp beside the dungeon's entrance. This will give you a nice little boost of Anima, which should net you a few upgrades. So to recap, once hitting 60, I made sure to complete my callings and begin the Covenant campaign to get my renown up quickly. It was also Time Walking week, the week that I hit max level, so I did my 5 dungeons to get my piece of normal Castle Nathria loot. I then ran both Sanguine Depths and Theater of Pain on Mythic 0 with their respective quests, get a little bit more gear as well as a big chunk of Anima. Once my gear was in an okay spot near the end of the week, I went into Torghast to get my weekly Soul Ash, and in total it took me about 8 days to get up to 30 renown, though note that I wasn't spamming heroic dungeons, which you could do to make this a little bit faster. From there, I started running some actual keys, but that's something I'll cover in my next video. Again, note that I will be streaming this entire experience on my Twitch channel, so feel free to come hang out and watch me struggle at Tactics. In the next video, I'll be going over my initial Mythic Plus key runs, which were an interesting experience. That's it for now though. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.